So the heavy tank line in War Thunder on the US3 starts with the M4A3, and that's not really a heavy tank. Um, although, no, you can't call it a heavy tank at all. But if you place it in that kind of at that rating, or that battle rating at that rank, I guess it could be considered a heavy tank. It was designed to be an infantry support tank using a 105 M4 howitzer, and that howitzer in the game at the moment is just brutal against the kind of opposition that it faces. So this tank is a beast at the moment. Please mind that this is still closed beta testing, and you never know, they might change it, they might increase the battle rating, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. However, what I can say about this tank is that it has the same kind of improved suspension system that this tank sitting at rank 4 has. So what you get is a rank 4 tank with a downsized gun. It's not as good as the M4A376 in fighting other tanks, or it shouldn't be. However, you still get the same tank, so it has the same kinds of benefits. You still have the same 500 horsepower Cadillac engine, and you still have the HVSS suspension system on the tank that is superior to all the other American tire or rank 2 tanks, I'm guessing. Maybe the exception would be the M22 Locust, and the tracks were also a little bit wider, so overall this tank was better than the others. So at rank 2 I don't really see this tank fitting in here. For sure it's a beast at this tire, and I don't really see it as a good entrance port to the heavy tank line, so I don't know why it's here. But I guess War Thunder has to put it somewhere, so why not put it in the heavy tank line? However, next tank, the M6A1, it's a heavy tank that actually did exist in few numbers, but it did exist during the Second World War, and it was used, but not in active duty in the war. It was used by the American National Guard to defend the homeland. So it never saw service, but now we can get the chance to try it out in combat in War Thunder. And it has a 76mm gun as well as a 37mm, I'm guessing, coaxial anti-tank gun. So I believe that you fire both guns at the same time, so that could be interesting. It also has some good armor, 101mm of armor at the lower tier 3. Could mean that this tank has the potential to become somewhat of a juggernaut on the battlefield. But I'll have to test it out. I'll come back to you later with it. And this is actually the first of the Sherman models that could actually be called a heavy tank. It's the same tank as this one and this one, but they put on more armor so that this tank get more protection. And it was actually also used just like this one as infantry support tank and a breakthrough tank. So the idea was that this tank would use its armor in order to come up close to bunkers in order to knock them out, so that the infantry would take over territory more quickly in the war. However, they also acknowledged that this kind of armor thickness on a tank would be a good way of fighting the better German tanks that the Germans were seeing on the battlefield in Normandy. So they decided to put the 76mm anti-tank gun in this tank in order to make it able to fight tanks such as Panthers and Tigers. So these tanks are more or less the same. This one has the dual purpose 75mm gun, and this tank has the 76mm gun, in this case the M1 cannon. But it could also fit all the other 76mm cannons that the US Army had. So after that you get the T-32, And that's a tank that I'm really excited about. I really want to test this tank out, because this tank has the best turret armor in the game. Or it has the thickest turret armor in the game. Maybe not the best. I'll have to hold my hat on that one and wait and see. But these two tanks at the bottom of the American heavy tank tree could be beasts in the game, I'm thinking. Because this tank has a brutally good 120mm gun, whereas the T-32 has a 90mm gun. But these tanks will be awesome in a hull down situation, so you want to try to put yourself in that kind of situation when you fight other tanks with these heavy tanks. So the T-32 never saw service. It was only a concept tank that they made. There were also other tanks in the same project. One of them were the T-29 heavy tank. We don't have that one in the game as of now. Perhaps we'll get it sometime soon. They also had the T-34 tank that was basically the same tank as the T-29 but with a different gun. And what all those tanks, the project tanks, led to, or the prototype tanks led to, was this one, the M103 heavy tank. And this tank was designed to fight the Josef Stalin 3 tank in Europe. So they made this tank with the sole purpose of fighting the IS-3s on the battlefield in Europe or in Asia or wherever the IS-3 would show up. So this tank is actually made for that. So it's a real heavy tank, and it's made for fighting other heavy tanks. And I'm guessing this gun will be able to penetrate almost any tank in the game, even the Jagdtiger frontally. So I'm kind of keen and excited about trying this one out. And looking at the paper stats, I can see that it can make 33 kilometers per hour, and that's not too bad for a tank weighing in at 56.3 tons. However, I feel that this tank was too heavy for its engine. It has the same engine that the Patton tanks, the medium tank, has. So I'm thinking that the army board that designed the tank kind of tried to put as much protection and as much stuff on the tank as possible, and that really pressed this engine and the suspension to its limits, and that led to this tank breaking down a lot in Europe, and it wasn't very appreciated by the troops. Although we had to try it out in War Thunder, and we'll see how it fares. You know, in War Thunder it doesn't matter whether a tank was badly designed or not. Engines won't break down in the game, so that's good. So that's it for the tanks. That's the end for this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two about the US tanks. And although I realize I haven't given you much of an advice on what kind of tank you should choose or not, I think maybe my information will make the decision a bit easier. I'll try to make guides for each ranks on the tank tree, where I have games in them and I show how they're like to play. So that's the thing I'll have to work on. And those videos will probably be out in somewhere in the upcoming month or two. That's it for me for this video, and I thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you around. If you like, please consider leaving a comment or subscribe to my channel, as well as pressing the like button if you liked the video, and if you want more people to be able to see this video. It will help me a lot. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys around.